Oh, sit tight, folks, because this one's gonna be a doozy. The Monkey by Osgood Perkins is a terrible film. There is nothing of substance here, and it tries so hard to be edgy and dark that it comes off as desperate and fake. The trailers hint that you should expect some type of humor, but they never tell you what humor to expect. Unfortunately, it's unfunny, cringeworthy dialogue, and that happened levels of brain rot quips. If you would have told me this movie was written and directed by Rian Johnson or Taika Waititi, I would have believed you with the absolute brain-dead plot, two-dimensional, irreverent, stupid, feckless characters, and I cannot stress this enough. Try hard, thinking we're smarter than we are dialogue. This is poser horror. This is a horror movie made by people who either hate horror or have never watched a horror movie and decided they wanted to try to make a satirical horror movie, which would be great if it were done well, like Scary Movie or even Scream, whose meta understanding of horror induced quite a few genuine laughs. But no, we get a movie written by a guy who made a good horror movie a year ago and just decided, hey, this really worked. Let's not do any of that again. The movie opens with the stupidest exchange between two adults I've ever witnessed since the Crow remake last year. A military man with blood all over his shirt runs into a pawn shop with a toy monkey, the titular character, and tries to sell it to the clerk. The clerk tells him that there are no returns on children's toys. The guy first says, well, aha, this isn't a toy. Actually, you should never call it that. And then tries to argue that instead it's something special that the clerk doesn't want to know what it actually does. The clerk then just randomly says, the arm is stuck in the up position. Now, firstly, how do you know it's stuck? You haven't tried it. All you did was look at this thing that you didn't know anything about and just made an assumption that the arm was stuck. You didn't try to move it or make it work or turn the key. You just said something stupid. Why did you do this? Oh, that's right. You said it so that you can set up the first joke of the movie, wherein the military guy says, you don't want that arm to come down. If it does, we're all royally fucked. The movie pauses for tension, and the arm comes down and bangs the drum. Then we get a shot of a small Rube Goldberg machine set in motion by a rat gnawing on a rope that ends up in a harpoon getting fired into the clerk's stomach and pulling out his intestines. Hilarious. The rest of the movie follows two brothers, Bill, an asshole, and Hal, a good kid, who are the apparent sons of the military man in the first scene of the movie. We know this because they show his jacket, and when they go through his things in a scene where they find the monkey for the first time...
Wait.
So this guy just brought the monkey back to his house instead of just leaving it at the pawn shop like he was trying to do in the first place? The movie tells us he left, but maybe we can assume he died? I don't know. Anyway, he's just gone. The mom, very deadpan as she trauma dumps all over her kids multiple times throughout this movie. I was honestly so happy when this mom died because of what a piece of shit she is. Says the age-old, tired, one day your dad went out for cigarettes and he never came back. And folks, this movie is full of this kind of dialogue. Oz Perkins, if your dad is alive, please go talk to him. Or find a father figure you can talk to. Because this obvious therapy movie for you is not doing it, my man. So Hal turns the key on the monkey because the instructions say, turn the key and see what happens. After he does so, the monkey kills their babysitter. This keeps happening until one day, after being humiliated at school, Hal tells the monkey he wants his brother to die, turns the key, and the monkey kills their mother. Thank God. We then waste a bunch of time watching the boys activate the monkey and watch people around them die before they finally chain it up and dump it in a well. Great idea! Just do that instead of stop turning the fucking key! Oh wait, that doesn't matter because the monkey has a mind of its own and can just activate whenever it wants to. The stakes have been raised. I swear to God, this movie gets dumber by the minute, and so do you when you're watching it. So fast forward 25 years, and Hal is estranged from everybody in his family, including his teenage son, Petey, who he only sees once a year to try to save his life because everybody around him dies. Nothing has happened in 25 years since they threw the monkey down the well, but hey!
Nah, it'll be fine.
So we get to watch a very bad attempt at human connection between Hal and his son as they make plans to go to Horror World. But then people start randomly dying again in outrageous ways that are meant to be funny. And if you didn't get that, the movie won't shut the fuck up about it, which is another thing. There is so much talking in this movie. It's like none of the scenes are allowed to breathe. There has to be a quip or a joke or an attempt at a pithy comment everywhere all the time for everything. Now, this is your spoiler warning. If you're still considering going to see this pile of apeshit, stop watching the video now. So the end of the movie finally comes when Hal's brother reveals he's been using the monkey again to try to kill Hal for killing their mother when he turned the key as a kid. That's it. It's a fucking revenge story now. Bill tells Hal that anybody who turns the monkey's key is safe, which is why they never died. So because of that, Bill wants Petey to turn the key so that it might kill Hal, but it also might kill Bill. So Bill's revenge could fail. Who writes this stupid fucking shit? So Hal and Petey find Bill in a hideout somewhere. Shitty dialogue happens. Bill rages and attempts to force the monkey to drum without turning the key. In retaliation, the monkey begins drumming uncontrollably, triggering widespread death and destruction throughout the entire town while still sparing Hal. Amid the chaos, Hal and Bill reconcile over their shared grief for their mother and apologize to each other. But not without a funny joke about Bill taking his hand away right when Hal is about to shake it because, ha ha ha, right audience? We want to interrupt one of the only decent character-defining moments for a middle school level joke because, ha 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 ha, right? Shortly after, the monkey suddenly decapitates Bill using one of his own booby traps. Hilarious! Then Hal and Petey drive through town, accepting their fate as the monkey's owners, to prevent the key from ever being turned again. At an intersection, a pale, black-eyed man riding a pale horse, implied to represent the Pale Horseman, passes by and acknowledges them. Hal, determined to reconnect with his son, suggests they go dancing, something their mother had loved. Petey accepts. And that's it. That's this stupid fucking movie. You know, I'm actually inclined to say that there's a good movie buried somewhere in the sludge of dialogue, cringe-inducing attempts at comedy, and a plot that holds as much water as a sieve. Theo James is a good actor, and he actually acts well in this movie. Elijah Wood makes a cameo that is, again, supposed to be funny, but just falls flat on its face. The young Colin O'Brien also does well in his role as Petey. The story lends itself to being able to be a story about how a man estranged from his family comes back to them and uses their collective help to break the curse of the monkey or destroy it. It could have been a buddy comedy wherein the two brothers have to unite despite their differences to break the curse of the monkey or at least get it to stop killing people. The death of their mother could have been the inciting incident for them to come together. But no, we get whatever the fuck this movie was supposed to be. A try-hard attempt at edgy, dark humor that's about as edgy as a butter knife and as dark as the skin on Elvira's tits. Now, I know what you're going to say. This is a Stephen King short story. They have to tell the story the way that Stephen King wrote it in the short story. I never read the short story, but if it's anything like this movie, I wouldn't have made a dumb fucking movie about it. This movie, honestly, might have just turned me off from all future Oz Perkins films. This makes me think Oz hates horror movies, or at least hates horror audiences. With Longlegs, we got a decent story, some well-plotted characters, and 2 acts that were at least worth watching. He seemed like he cared about the story he was telling and the characters he was writing. With the monkey, it seems like he didn't give a shit at all, and just wanted to piss all over the goodwill he established with fans of Longlegs. I've seen a lot of horror comedy movies in my life, but I've never seen one as intentionally unfunny or unintentionally bad as this. I don't have a sign-off for this channel yet, but if you liked this video, please leave me a comment and consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't like this video, thanks anyway for staying as long as you did.